Actually, Christian's younger brother by 1 year, but being so close to each other, I ended up taking the kind of older brother route through most of our lives. I was kind of taking that role as the role model, as someone who he was looking up to, as you notice that the kids will be mimicking, he mimicked me a lot, and so I was kind of there as his guide and like helping him and pushing him through. And so it's a little bit different experience than what McKenna's sister had, is that we grew up right next to each other, and throughout that time, I didn't really know or understand his, a genetic disorder or what it was. I just knew him as my brother, and he was my only brother, so I didn't have anyone to compare him to or anything of that sort. So I just accepted him. Oh, this is Christian. This is who he is, and so his PTLS wasn't really ever in the forefront of my mind of, oh, okay, he has a disability, so I need to be cautious of that, or I have to, keep that in my mind while we're playing, or if I'm getting angry with him or frustrated. I wasn't thinking, oh, okay, I gotta double think, oh, he has this disability, why is he doing these things? He's just being my brother, and now I'm gonna get, upset because he's humming all the time while we're trying to sleep in the same room, or if he's singing, or if he's copying me or following me around all the time, and I'm like, dude, I just want to leave me alone for a little bit. So those things didn't really click in my head until later in life, until I started seeing it and understanding who he was and what was going on. So kind of the first question is, what was it like being at home? It was just that. It was, he was just my brother, and he would do, he wouldn't want to do stuff, or he wouldn't want to eat. I'm like, okay, well, I like those foods. That's great. If he doesn't want to eat them, no big deal. Or if we were at an amusement park or something, and a ride would scare him, I would be like, come on, we're going on this ride. This isn't really a question. It's like me and you, there's 2 seats here. I can't ride this by myself. We gotta go. And so I'd end up, talking him into that. But one thing that you would notice is that he has a routine, and he sticks to those routines very, very hard. One that always pops into my head that I like to give him guff about is waking up on the 5s. Depending, no matter what it is, even if he's awake, he'll look over with one eye, look at the clock, nope, I got a minute left, I'm not waking up. So just little things like that, or the breakfast that he's going to eat, he always, fills his drink up. Before he fills his drink up, takes a sip out of it, and then walks and sits down. But it's always a routine, it's always going to be there, and you can always count on that. And it's one of those things that you just got to kind of realize, and you can anticipate it for good, for better, or for worse, that you know that these things are going to happen, and you can count on them, but you can adjust yourself accordingly to either help them out, to make them feel more comfortable, or anticipate them so you can, get your day moving along a little bit faster. Second one is, how did my friends react and deal with it? They're wonderful. They're really great about it. It was kind of the same way. I wasn't really presenting it to them as, hey, he has a disability. I was like, here's my brother. He acts a little goofy sometimes, but he's great to hang out with. And everyone would see that, and they would see his kindness, and they would see how talkative he was, and how much he just wanted to be there and talk about things he knew about, things he wanted to know about them, and that kind of opened people up to accept them a lot more. So they would come over, and they would be really helpful as far as, helping defend them if someone was saying mean things, or if you needed help with something, they'd be there to help you out. So I found that my friends were really supportive and a big hand in us growing up together. What do I feel about being a caretaker in life, later in life? Honestly, it's kind of spooky thinking about it right now, but fingers crossed, hopefully that's not going to happen for a long, long time. And I feel like now that I have it in the back of my head, I can plan for it, and it almost even pushes me a little bit harder to succeed in life and whatever I want to do, or just try harder, just so I know that we can be able to, deal with the impending doom of my mom. So, we can make it through together. So yeah, it's scary right now, but I think we'll be able to handle it when we get to that moment. It also, getting to know them is really important about that, for that transition, in my mind, is the more you know about them, the more you know about their routines, the more you know about who they are, what their eccentricities, and things like that, the better you can, bond and make it through. Let's see. Do I feel obligated to take care of them as a sibling? Sometimes, but not to the point of as I feel, obligated because they're my family, not because, he has like this special needs and, I have to take care of him. It's, no, he's my brother. I need to take care of him because he's my brother. And that's it. Like, special needs are just his, that's something special about him, but that's not all of who he is. And so just being my brother is enough for me to say, yeah, of course I'm going to take care of him. There's no question asked. Positive things about being a sibling with someone with special needs. One, you're there to help them, push them to their limit, even if your parents aren't. They might want to, like, no, he can't do that, he has special needs, I don't think he should be doing that. Okay, sure. And then we'll go and do it. A great example is in high school, I was driving home from school one day with him in the car, and we get into the neighborhood, and I pull over and I say, all right, Christian, it's your turn. Your turn to drive. And my mom's always like, no, he can't drive, he's not going to be driving. Like, let's see what he can do. So I threw him in the car, threw him in the driver's seat. Luckily it was on park because he immediately hit the gas. Okay, off to a good start. But it turned out great. He, was able to cruise down the street. He avoided all the cars on the side of the road. Didn't crash into a house. Didn't hit a curb. And then on the way down near the end of the street, I called my mom. It's like, hey, come outside real quick. She comes outside. He pulls up right in front. Just like stops, like one of those jerky stops right in front. Like, all right, cool. Like, you did it. That was fun. So he can do it. There's things that he can't do, even though, some people are thinking, I don't know if I want to try that. You're there to kind of help them push them, and because they're going to be looking up to you and they're going to be trusting you. So you have a little leeway with helping them get out of their comfort zone a little bit more. Let's see. Did I have trouble coping with a sibling with special needs? Like I said, I've always viewed my brother as just my brother. It hasn't been until later in life, until late high school or so, where I was like, oh yeah, he started noticing things like, yeah, he definitely is someone special and someone who has things that he requires that are very particular to him, which is fine. But so in that aspect, growing up right next to him, I didn't have a lot of trouble coping with him, minus the normal kind of things that we would get into. I'd get angry with him for little things, or I'd get upset, and it's totally normal to be mad at your brother or your sibling at all. It's you're going to get upset with people. It's just how you end up dealing with it and how you fix those situations is what really is important to that. And understanding them. You gotta understand that, you know, there's going to be times where they're going to be very, very stubborn and they won't want to do anything. And you got to realize, yeah, okay, well, we're not going to get past this for a little bit. So, but in the end, your bond's going to be deeper, and you're going to be able to make it through those situations that are harder. Family talking about a genetic disorder. Well, you're looking at her, she talks about it all the time. Non-stop, she gets entire groups together to talk about it. So I hear about it all the time. And at the beginning, it was hard because we didn't know what's going on, and we still sort of don't know what's going on. We're still learning each day. That's why we have all of you guys here, so we can learn from each other and see what's going on, because this is, you know, my speech is from one particular viewpoint, but there's one thing that's bringing us all together is Potocki-Lupski Syndrome, and there's something that's binding us all together. But you know, you're going to have your own moments and your own experiences in life, but if we can learn from each other, that's great. But as far as sharing with people, you know, I talk about it all the time. It's like, look, you know, Christian was the first one, you know, diagnosed, but there's a bunch of other people out there right now, and they're all really awesome people too, and you should get to know it and realize it and, you know, spread the word. And so it's fun talking about it. It's fun letting people know and informing them, because they do react positively. They say, oh wow, I've never heard of that before. What is it? And then they're automatically intrigued because they've never heard of it before. And now they know someone directly who, you know, has a sibling with it. So they want to know more, and then once they know, it's, you know, spreading the information and further. So it's a lot of fun talking about it with your family and your friends and strangers. So yeah, talk about it. Don't be shy. Bring it up. Say it, like, tell them. Just talk about it all the time. So that's what I would suggest. How would it impact my personal growth? A lot. I feel like it impacted me a lot. Helped me develop a lot of patience with people, not just people with special needs. Him particularly, yeah, it helped me develop a lot of patience, but in life, having patience with everybody, especially if you're working in, you know, some type of customer service role, or, you know, we have to deal with people all the time, and there's going to be really ridiculous people out there, and you gotta be patient with them, or you're not going to get anywhere. So that was a super important thing that I learned really early on, is some patience, just because they can be really stubborn sometimes, and they're going to be moving at their own pace, and you got to accept that. And you got to be able to work around that and keep moving through that. Helped me develop some understanding different people have different needs. And I think that was one of the first things I learned, is that I saw him as my brother, and I didn't, you know, I understood that he was different, but I also understood that everyone else was different too. That not everyone's going to be exactly the same like me. So it's not going to bother me that, you know, they're different. It's just, that's who they are, that's who I am. Sometimes you get along with people, sometimes you don't. But, you know, the earth is covered with people, and you got to deal with them. Kindness, he's like the perfect example of kindness, that all of these kids are so nice. Once they start talking, they're not going to stop talking, and they're going to just keep talking your ear off to you, your family, strangers, anyone who's going to listen. They're going to be talking to them, and they're going to be super kind about it, and that's a wonderful thing, is to see the kindness that pours out of their heart. Honesty, that was another big thing, that they are going to keep you honest, for better or for worse. They're either gonna bring up a situation that is not ideal for that moment, and you're just gonna have to be like, well, I can't lie my way through this one. He's right there telling everything that happened. But so yeah, they're going to recant every detail that they have. And so it's going to keep you honest. It's going to keep you, you know, telling the truth to everybody, even when they're there and when they're not. Let's see, responsibilities. Definitely going to give you a lot of responsibilities. Having the idea in your head that you know you're going to have to take care of them one day, but also that you're helping them out now and you're helping them out through life, and they're looking up to you and they're mimicking you and copying you, and they, you know, they're your sibling and they love you like unconditionally with so much more love than you can imagine. So you got to be able to help them out and you know, take responsibility for them and with them. As far as advice for other siblings, first one would be don't make any empty promises that you don't intend to keep. They will remember. And even if it was several months down the line, they're going to pull it up when that time comes. So don't just start, you know, making things up to help them do something. But let's see. Like I said earlier, PTLS is not the only part of them. It is a part of them. But they are human, and they are your family, and they are so much more than just PTLS. So realize that, and realize that they're going to be, you know, they have a lot of potential, and they have a lot to give. So don't just, you know, restrict your own mind for, you know, what you might think that they can or can't do, because they're taking in a lot right now. They're watching everything you're doing, and they're, you know, internalizing it. You know, so they're going to be able to, some things they might not want to do, but there's a lot of things that they can do. So just kind of keep that in mind. Try to understand them, try to get to know them, and figure them out. Because there's, like I said earlier, there's a lot of routine to their life, that if you can figure out their routine, you can get a lot further. And then just understanding them will help you understand like how to help them and how to get through particular situations that might seem like a roadblock. You will be able to get around it somehow. It might just be a more difficult puzzle to figure out than, you know, usual. Also, just remember they're looking to you for guidance. If you know they're watching you and they're watching everyone else, and they keep stuff locked in their head. You know, for better, for worse, they know, they remember things, and if you're setting a great example for them, they're going to turn out even better than you think they would. So just you know, set a good example for them, and you know, that's going to be a really great experience, and they're going to be a wonderful lifelong friend for you. But as far as that, you know, that's kind of all I got. If you have any more questions, you know, feel free to ask me later on. But I hope I touched on some concerns or questions that you guys had.